Do I have your question correctly? You're asking about water resources and what the next U.S. Senator would do to guarantee that Arizona has good water resources?
What they see the problem is and how they would manage it.
I'm sorry, say again, please.
What they see is the problem with the water issues in Arizona and how they would manage it as the U.S. Senator.
You getting that?
I got it.
Okay.
Well, we live in the desert. And I'm the candidate with a PhD in arid land resource sciences from the University of Arizona. I'm also the candidate that has a track record when it comes to water conservation. As a member of the Tucson City Council, I championed the first rainwater harvesting ordinance for new commercial development and the first graywater plumbing ordinance. But what was most important about passing those ordinances for the city of Tucson is that I was then invited by the mayor of Avondale, in Prescott, in Sierra Vista, in Sahuarita, in Marana, in Oro Valley, all these other communities, to educate them on what we did in the city of Tucson. We need to have a leader back in Washington, D.C. that believes that conservation is important in the United States Senate. We need to have a leader back in Washington, D.C. that's going to bring federal dollars back to Arizona to champion innovation, because we're going to continue to have water issues in our state. As many of you know, we have a number of Native American tribes under the Winters Doctrine, which was decisioned by the Supreme Court. The majority of the water rights for our state are vested and will continue to be vested with the Native American tribes. So as cities and towns, we're going to have a United States Senator that's going to work with those tribes, that's going to make sure that we have access to water resources for the future. I have the educational background, both my law degree and my PhD, and the track record of actually being a champion for water conservation. So I will be the appropriate choice to be moving that agenda forward back in Washington.
Water resources.
All right. I know, hope you all agree with me, you don't need to have a PhD to one to realize we live in a desert. That's one. And two, you don't need to have a PhD to realize we need to use less water. Right? It's that simple. Water is a finite resource. We need to use less of it. We have a situation in Tucson, we make it 9 inches of rain, we use 36 inches of water per year. Right? And so it's a very simple thing. We're getting our water from different sources, either from the Colorado River, or the Central Arizona Project, or an aquifer under the underground water. It's that simple. That's where the water comes from. So we want to keep our yards green, we want to keep our golf courses going. So it's that simple. It's not that complicated. We have to use less. Whether it's come from our crops or our cotton we produce, I think it's 40 gallons of water to produce a t-shirt. I mean, there's all this water that's produce all the different things of our state. So the issue is how we're going to start to allocate this water, because this is not a sustainable model. We cannot continue to use 36 inches of water a year. We only get 9 inches of rain. So we have to look at how we conserve. It can be something that's just using, spending 5 minutes less in your shower. Right? So don't water your yard every day. This is not high-stakes, complicated things. This is something simple we can figure out as Arizonans, that we start to use less. And when you magnify that out across the whole state, if everyone starts to conserve and use less, then of course that'll make that resource last that much longer. So it's that simple. So it means either we can also for agriculture, we can't, it depends on, there's just 80% of our particular water usage right in agriculture, and we got to think to what extent is that going to be sustainable for the long term. I think it's that simple. We live in a desert, we have to use less water.
Senator.
One of the biggest con jobs in Maricopa County is that there's a shortage of water. That may be shocking to you, but I have covered water for many, many years. And the farmers, the agribusiness industry, which Rodney is very closely tied to, has pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. Where do you think the water comes from to build homes for 100,000 people a year? Has anybody ever stopped and thought, how can City of Phoenix keep growing at this rapid rate? Because there's a lot of renewable water coming off the Salt and Dougherty rivers. There's water coming off the Central Arizona Project Canal. And what's been going on in Arizona is one of the biggest rip-offs in the history of the country. The CAP was federally subsidized at about $5 or $6 billion to bring water here, and it's fueled a lot of this growth. I could talk about water for the next 3 days, but I'll tell you one thing. We are getting hosed on the water. We are getting hosed on the water. We need to raise, here's a couple key things we need to do. We need to raise the price of water. We need to use an economic solution and encourage conservation until we raise the price. Secondly, We have to quit subsidizing agribusiness that's taken up 70% of our water right now to grow subsidized crops, cotton, which is using subsidized electricity off of Dougherty, which is transferring those crops overseas, exported, all subsidized. That's one of the biggest rip-offs going on in the state of Arizona, and I will work as your next United States Senator to end these kind of con jobs and make sure you have full information when you make such crucial decisions about water.
Thank you, John.
The job I have, just before I started running for office, was a professor of public policy at Arizona State University. And I had a program where I brought in city managers, water people, mayors, councils, is to make sure that they understood to take a look at strong data and understand the decisions they were making and the ramifications of what the decisions they were making. We have some of the best data at Arizona State University. It's called decision theater. And so you can sit in this theater and you can make public policy decisions and see what it's going to do to the water table in a positive or negative way. And so that you bring in tribes and bring in councils. And oftentimes, even when they had all that information, or how much growth is going to happen, what will happen, but at least they had as much information as possible. So that's something I was very proud of. I spent the last 5 years working very hard on training the future and the present councils, managers, and trying to make sure that they had as much data as possible. I know somebody said, how can we stop a lot of the misinformation that happens in the state? Is that's one of the things is we just need to keep saying, what is the data? What is the data? And with water, that's helped a great deal. And then you can see where we can serve and what will happen with that. But there is solid, good information that people do agree on, and not always the best decisions that I would agree with. But if you just keep bringing people to the table and showing them all the ramifications, and I will continue to try to help that we use the best data possible.
Thank you.